And we are live. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire Animation Edition, Season 8, and third episode, Episode 3. So far, no one has made it to the million, and today we have welcoming back a very familiar face to the game show. You know him, movie blogger, film critic, Disney lover. He's just an all-around awesome guy, Mr. Sean Nasuti. How are you?
We also forgot last year's expert and 2 seasons ago, former champion.
Oh, yeah. How can I forget those?
Well, hey, glad to be back. Like I said, I always have fun with these. Like as Mark just noted, and Mark and I just pointed out, yes, this is me coming back to play because last year I was our seasons for my season 7, if I'm right, was last year. Season 7. I was a season 7 expert, and that was a lot of fun. Helped a lot of people. Hopefully helped a lot of people. And outside of the stuff I'm not good at, like say, we were talking about this earlier. Like in the years past, I've had issues with say Studio Ghibli, How to Train Your Dragon, and anything DreamWorks that wasn't like Shrek and Madagascar, stuff like that. So, we'll see how it goes. Heck, there was one year I was this close to getting out and just like one. I think it was like this 200. The second question's like I did this. Oh crap!
It was a Peter Pan thing, if I remember correctly.
It was a Peter Pan question.
and like you said, you've been the expert. So based on your experience as both a player and expert, which do you prefer?
Expert always. I'd say with experts, like you obviously, there's your expectations. Like you want to make sure you can help as much as you can, because sometimes there are some questions that you don't know. And that's fine, but like I said, when at the right times, you can help really well. Like I know last year's champion, Skylar Schuler of the Diz Insider, he had like 2 questions that he used my answers for, and they turned out to be both correct.
Yeah, if it wasn't for you, he never would have won that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure both he and I are grateful to you, Sean, for that.
Mm-hmm.
And for everyone else who's new to this is a 12-question multiple choice game show about anything even remotely in the field of animation. As long as Sean keeps getting questions right, he goes higher up the ladder. Once he gets one wrong, that's the end of the game. He leaves with the last number of points for the last safe haven. He has 3 lifelines to help him. 50-50 gets rid of 2 wrong answers. A phone a friend if he chooses. He can call someone for help or ask the expert this season. Our expert is the winner from last season, Mr. Skylar Schuler, Disney lover, the best guy to get Disney scoops, and the founder of the Diz Insider website. So I've asked him all these questions previously. Sean can see how he answered, decide if he wants to go with that or not. And if Sean gets to 32,000 points, he gets a 4th lifeline, double dip, which gives him 2 chances at answering a question. Sean, ready to play Millionaire?
As long as you don't start off with a Studio Ghibli question, I should be good.
I make no promises. Can you see my screen?
All right, here. Yep, there we go.
All right. And everyone's just a ladder of points. The yellow ones are your benchmarks. Once you get to those, you can't lose them no matter what. And if no one gets to the million, the top 5 people will come back for a second round. So Sean, feel free to walk away if at a high number if you ever want to. And everyone else, it's Skylar Schuler. Check out his website at thedizinsider.com. And Sean has read his intro already. So we are going to start with a 500-point question. Skylar, here we go. What is the name of the animated 1959 Disney canon film about a princess who pricks her finger on a spinning wheel? Is it Eating Beauty, Sleeping Beauty, Reading Beauty, or Hiking Beauty?
Eating Beauty would have been a much different kind of film. And when I look at Reading Beauty, I just hear Reading Rainbow. That's all right. Yeah, it gives you an idea of my random thoughts sometimes. But thankfully, this is an easy one. That's going to be B, Sleeping Beauty. Final answer.
And nothing's vital to say final answer, so take your time. But I think your answer is correct. Good job.
Nope, we're not going to have that. We are definitely not going to have another thing like last year. Oh, it's actually 2 years ago. This one, maybe. I don't know.
the second to last time you were here. Yeah, if it was Reading Beauty, I think that'd probably be the one I like best.
Yeah. It's a Reading Beauty. Damn it.
All right. I'll put the book away. But I do love Sleeping Beauty, and I think she, Aurora gets a lot of flack for not doing anything in the movie. But I mean, she's a beauty and she's sleeping. She's literally doing 100% of what the title is asking of her.
Oh, hey, she lives up to that at least.
I mean, yeah. So, but even that, the movie I think is wonderful. The animation, the widescreenness of it, and I'm not the biggest fan of Maleficent, but I know she's like the #1 villain for most people. But I love the movie.
So yeah, Sleeping Beauty. The 50s were a really tough. That's a classic decade for like Walt Disney Animation. And outside of this, they had Cinderella, they had Peter Pan. Heck, even if it was like sandwiched in between Peter Pan and Sleeping Beauty, Lady and the Tramp is also widely considered to be another classic from that era. And Alice in Wonderland, even. For a moment, I forgot the last one was like, oh, what was the other one? Oh yeah, Alice in Wonderland. But yeah, all those classics, and Sleeping Beauty is definitely much one of them. I just kind of even remember watching this a lot as a kid. Like I remember one time I watched it on the Wonderful World of Disney, so that was a thing. Back in the day, and I said, still also a very beautiful looking movie. That was back when Disney really utilized the widescreen, great effect, classic villain, always also fun interactions with all her fairy allies. Like it's blue, it's pink, it's green, stuff like that. It's all very cute. And like I said, I recognize that all people were fans of the 2014 reimagining of it, but I enjoyed the new one on Maleficent. Thought really well. I thought, if anything, is an interesting, different spin on it. As I always say with these remakes, as long as the originals are still there at the end of the day, like they're not doing anything harmful, I'd say.
Well, I'm glad you could be mature and calm-minded about it. I still hate it, but that's just me.
Call mature. Call mature about what do you think I am? The internet?
Excuse me. All right, 1,000 points. Sean, remember, if you get this wrong, that's in the game. Let's not have to happen again this time. So,
I will never live that down. Or like I remember that other episode when I didn't know anything about How to Train Dragon. I'll get around to it probably eventually, but like, yeah.
Well, my friend, let's go 1,000 points. Which of the following animated DreamWorks animation sequels features the characters of Donkey and Fiona? Is it Trolls World Tour, Kung Fu Panda 2, Shrek 2, or Madagascar Escape to Africa?
Shrek 2, that's a final answer.
I think you knew this, but as soon as you saw the question, your answer is correct.
It helps that my most recent post that I did on my blog, Rhode Island Movie Corner, was a full-on retrospective on Shrek. So, and right now I'm even working on a Madagascar retrospective. So I'm fairly familiar with those two franchises right now.
Nice. And for me, I've never. It's probably a hot take, but I've never really been an overall fan of the Shrek movies. Even the first one, I didn't like all that much. I don't hate them. Like I will watch them, but like I know people who just love these movies and think they're very like classics in animation, and they're fine, but I've just never been into them. I like Puss in Boots. Like that's my favorite of all these movies. If we include that.
Would you mind if I just quickly go through them real quick? Because I know this is totally like a cross promotion, shameless plug. But I just, like I said, just covered all these Shrek movies recently.
No, I insist. I want to hear it. I want to hear it.
No problem. I'm very much part of the generation that grew up with the Shrek franchise. Granted, I'm not one of them who's going to be like Shrek is love, Shrek is life. Don't. And to people, anyone watching right now, do not look that up. Don't get mad at me and Mark for bringing that up. It's your morbid curiosity about that. That's another story, which I don't want to get into. But anyway, that first Shrek, still very much a classic. I still remember going to see it the first time at my local drive-in, actually. That's something. Like I said, I'm actually kind of in the boat that actually kind of prefers the first one over the second one, which I say only because everyone loves the second one. Second one's like one of the most...
I told this. I totally agree. If I had to pick a favorite of the four, it's the first one. I don't get it the second one as much as everyone else.
Like I said, nothing against the second one. Like I said, I see why the second one loves saying the second one's like one of the best. I'm like, it's like I said, I like it. I just I have more history with the first one, if that makes sense. I mean, I won't make this a whole endless quotable fest about every line from those movies. Like Shrek, what? It's a compliment. You definitely, oh, that was really scary. And if you know what I'm saying, if that doesn't get you, the breath surely will. You definitely need some Tic Tac or something because your breath stinks. But okay, one, I'm done with that. My favorite line ever is, this is fun. We're gonna still stay up late, shop at mailing stores, and in the morning, I'm making waffles. Classic. So yeah, that's the first two Shreks. Like both, I'd say still very much classics. I do sort of still prefer the first one, but I can also see why everyone said the second one. And then of course it kind of went a little downhill with Shrek the Third. I don't hate Shrek the Third as much as everyone else on the internet does. I know everyone's like, oh, one of the worst films ever. I'm like, it's not that bad. Just I summed it up as that film, I think, was trying very hard to replicate the joke a second high comedy style of Shrek 2, but kind of lost faith of what like all the heart of the series. So that's the thing. Like it tried really too hard to be like, oh, it'll do super corny and jokey and whatnot. And I think that's why it like felt like just a lot of it just felt stale at that point. And then Shrek Forever After, this is the first time I saw it in a while since I saw it back when it came out. That one surprisingly holds up decently well, actually. Like much better emotional stakes than 3, more memorable villains, stuff like that. Even if it's like a Euro standard, oh, it's a wonderful life storyline where like, the main protagonist is like, oh, I wish I'd never been born. And he goes back like, oh, wait, everyone's life would have been horrible without me. Stuff like that. It's actually still I say still solid. Like, and we don't know yet if there's going to be like a new Shrek film in the future outside of the Puss in Boots films. But if it isn't, this is not it wasn't a bad way to end it. And then finally, Puss in Boots, the spinoff, which I actually saw for the first time. Like I said, didn't see this when I was in theaters. Kind of regretting that I did because it's really fun. And I am kind of interested in seeing the new one that's coming out later this year, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish.
Same. And when you mentioned It's a Wonderful Life, now I'm just imagining Jimmy Stewart voicing Shrek.
Well, donkey.
The donkey. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Before I get in trouble with the Jimmy Stewart.
I can't do it. I'm not that good at impressions usually.
Well, Sean, I loved hearing that. I love talking animation with you. So that was wonderful. So you have 1,000 points, and no matter what you do, you can't leave it less than that. But let's try to get you further. 2,000 points, sir. What vegetable does the animated character Popeye, based on the comic strip character created by E.C. Sagar, eat to gain super strength? Is it carrots, spinach, broccoli, excuse me, or cauliflower? And
sorry, I had to.
And that would be just as a note to those watching. What I'm talking about, what he normally usually eats. I know in some episodes he might eat something else to get super strength, but this is just overall general. Go.
Yeah, it's general stuff like me. Like, who admittedly does not watch a lot of Popeye, but I know exactly what this is. That will be B, spinach. Final answer.
You know your stuff, Sean. Your answer is correct.
I didn't even try that time.
I always wonder if the spinach industry did better because of the popularity of Popeye.
You never know. I know. I mean, this is totally unrelated, but Wallace and Gromit, if you know, classic Hardman duo, like they actually straight up saved like this cheese factory in the UK from like going out of business. So it can happen.
Could happen, yeah. And I'm a big fan of Popeye. I grew up with the old comic animated shows back in the day, but I was really looking forward to the
Gendy Tartakovsky.
Yeah, I was looking for his version because that animation just looks so beautiful. But hopefully we'll get to see it one day, but I don't know.
If I heard correctly, there's something new going on now.
Yeah, I heard there's some rumor of something going on, but
yeah, but I've seen that footage, yeah, and that footage was pretty fun, even if it was just like a small clip. Admittedly, I don't have much experience on Popeye outside of that. Just I'm more just familiar because my dad was a big old cartoon fan, so that's how I became known as like Flintstones, Jetsons, stuff like that. And yeah, that's Popeye for you. Not much to say, I'll say, except I guess one more time.
There you go. I love your impression. I'll do Jimmy Stewart. You do Popeye.
It depends on the character.
That's nice. All right, Sean, you're doing well. 5,000 points. Let's go. Which animated Disney canon film features a canine method of communication known as the Twilight Bark? Is it Lady and the Tramp, Fox and the Hound, 101 Dalmatians, or Oliver and Company?
C, final answer.
You just want to get that out of the way. Your answer is wrong. No, correct.
If I mentioned before that way back in the day, 2016, I did like a big on retrospective on my blog. I did every single Disney animated film.
We did it a couple times in the previous seasons.
I'm sure I have. So yeah, like I said, I think I even mentioned it when I was the expert last year. Like Disney animation stuff like that. That's like my main pick. That's my main knowledge. Disney animation, Pixar, whatnot.
Yeah, and this movie, I think we mentioned it. No, we didn't mention it yet. This show, but this is one of my. I'm going through the canon again to re-rank them, but my last ranking of the canon, this was like in my top 5 animated Disney canon films. I love 101 Dalmatians a lot.
I forget exactly where it is on mine. I think it's like somewhere in the middle, but it's like I give it like a 4.5 out of 5 rating. So I give a rating like that. That's definitely a high mark. Yeah, 101 Dalmatians, very classic, notable, also notable kind of historical for the studio because it helped them out of the bind of Sleeping Beauty being admittedly a box office underperformer. They used a revolutionary new style back in the day, which I know a lot of people say nowadays, like, it's ugly, the Xerox style.
I love it.
I get it's here. It works really well. It gives us a nice little look. I like you just like the good old fashioned charm of it, combined with of course, with the wild, wacky antics of Cruella.
Cruella de Vil. I'd take her over Maleficent any day. So
I'm actually have to agree with you on that one, maybe actually.
Nice. All right, Sean. Let's keep going. 10,000. What is the name of the dog in the animated 2017 Pixar film Coco? Dante, Luna, Carlo, Bella.
I'm just anticipating, like I'm gonna get like a Studio Ghibli answer, like because all these ones I know right away. But I think there's gonna be one. There's gonna be one. I'm calling it. Anyway, the answer is A. Dante. Final answer.
You're not taking any chances. You're not using any lifelines. Your answer is correct.
Like I just said, I know it's coming. I'm waiting for it.
This movie, I did enjoy it. I think it was one of the better. It's one of the better Disney Pixar films. Probably, in my opinion, maybe the last Pixar film that I really liked. I think after that, it just kind of went downhill. Like I can't remember what came after 2017 in terms of Pixar, but this I think was the height for me, and then that's when they started to go down, in my opinion.
Well, anyway, Coco is not much to say. It's just a modern Pixar classic with all the absolutely gorgeous animation. And by most accounts, I can't really say for myself because I'm not Mexican, but all accounts looks like a very faithful attempt at representing Mexican culture, which I mentioned mostly because I remember there was that one instant before the movie came out where they were trying to license Day of the Dead, and I was like, no, don't do that. So the fact that it did come out like that, then it managed to become modern Pixar classic, super successful at the box office, won 2 Oscars, not just a usual Best Animated Feature, but also
one for writing, right?
So one for Best Song, and and it gets some good representation here, and it gets some representation here in the parks. Definitely, if anyone's ever been to the Magic Kingdom at the Mickey's Phil Our Magic ride, they actually just updated it recently, and now they have a whole Coco sequence in there.
And are they planning to redo the Three Caballeros ride at Mexico Pavilion?
Well, I mean, they had not much full in on park updates and stuff like that, but I will not be surprised if that's going to coming in the future.
Or Encanto, or one of those, I feel would take over Three Caballeros.
It would be. I'd say Coco's more likely there.
But I guess we'll just have to wait and find out.
Mm-hmm.
Sean, you're 2 away from next benchmark. You still have all your lifelines. I'm excited. Let's keep going. 20,000. Which actor voices the villain, Dr. Erwin Armstrong, in the animated 2021 DreamWorks animation film, The Boss Baby Family Business? Is it Jeff Goldblum, Billy Bob Thornton, Kevin Costner, or John Travolta?
Time for not another impression. Okay, that's again bad impression. That would be a Jeff Goldblum. Final answer. That's his theory.
Life finds a way, and your answer does as well. That's correct.
I have not seen this movie, but I'm as a film guy, I'm generally aware, like, who's in this movie? Who's in a movie? Who's in that? And I see it's like, oh, Jeff Goldblum. Interesting.
So these movies, the Boss Baby films, they get a lot of flack, and they're considered like one of the worst DreamWorks films. But like personally, they're big guilty pleasures of mine. I really like both of these movies. I find both of them very funny and entertaining and enjoyable. And this character with this is the villain voiced by Jeff Goldblum. I won't spoil it, but there's a revelation about him which is very interesting in this movie.
Is it would you call it a very Jeff Goldblum style revelation, or just right?
Not just a revelation, but his delivery is definitely Jeff Goldblum style.
Because his Jeff Goldblum. Like I said, I've never seen these movies, but like you said, the internet. Here's the thing about internet. Like, so there are just some movies out there, but even if they're not really that bad, everyone's like, what is this movie? I remember the far back when the first Boss Baby came out, and it was like, what is this movie? But to me, it just looked like relatively harmless, like comedy. seemed like super inspired by super old fashioned like 50s, 60s animation stuff like that. Didn't seem too bad. So like I said, maybe I'll get around to it one day. I mean, I am working on like a whole bunch of retrospectives for my blog about like DreamWorks. Like I said, I published a Shrek one, working on a Madagascar one. I'm going to go for all the franchises first before I get to the solo stuff, which would count Boss Baby, even though they've had 2 films. But yeah, just like I said, I'll check this out eventually. But for now, I just haven't seen it yet. But I'm not one of those people like, what's this movie? You know what I mean?
No, you have to give things a chance. So. And I'm looking forward to your views on this once you do. All right, Sean, the next one's a 32,000 points. You get that right, you have that no matter what, and you'll get the 4th lifeline, the double dip, and you still have all your lifelines. Let's see what this one is. Is this Studio Ghibli question? No. In which Ice Age film does the squirrel Scrat meet and fall in love with a female squirrel? Is it Ice Age Dawn of the Dinosaurs, Ice Age Collision Course, Ice Age The Meltdown, or Ice Age Continental Drift?
Haven't seen any of these movies in years, but I've seen enough to remember which one. That would be A, Ice Age Dawn of the Dinosaurs. Final answer.
How sure are you?
That I know because that was the last one I saw.
Well, your answer is correct.
Yeah, that was the last one I did see because I saw the first one, like everyone did, second one, and then the third one. But after that, that was when I finally stopped watching. By that was back when these movies those 3 movies came out. I wasn't really paying attention to like how they were doing. I didn't, of course. I think we talked about before. Like I remember, like I think it was like my 3rd or 4th time being on it. There was like I ended up walking away after an Ice Age question. So I didn't know for sure about that, but like I said, I have not seen any of these movies in years. But like I said, I just always remembers that I did like the first movie. That was of course, that's the one most people like. Yeah, that's the only one I actually likes. Again, that'll be another one I'll be interested in seeing one day and returning to one day to check it out. I'll even sit through those sequels, even though I know everyone's like, those ones are the worst. But yeah,
I recently did I went through all 13 Blue Sky films to pay like tribute to the company since they're shut down now. But
I was about to do that, but I didn't get around to doing it. But I probably will sometime soon.
And I was surprised to find that of all the Ice Age movies, I liked number 4 the best, which was weird to me. The one with Nicki Minaj, Drake, and Kiki Palmer was the one I liked the most. And I was like, wow. So it's definitely something. Well, the 5th one definitely is the worst. So you're definitely right. Sean, you have 4 lifelines. You have the 50-50, you got the 2 experts, and you have the double dip. And you have you're only 5 away from the million. Oh, I'm tingling with excitement. Let's see how far you go. Sean, 64,000. Which excuse me. Which famous conductor conducts the music in the animated 1940 Disney Canada film Fantasia? I think you know this one as well. Is it Leopold Stokowski, Leonard Bernstein, Herbert von Karajan, or Otto Klemperer?
I am just waiting for that one question that's gonna trip me up. Like I know, right? If it's a Studio Ghibli, I have to be careful about phoning the expert because I know Scala's not an expert on that stuff. So, but I know this one. That would be Mr. Leopold Stokowski, number A. Final answer. Did I say number A?
You said number A. Your answer is the correct number. There we go.
Was it incorrect? Because it would have been incorrect because I said number A.
Get out. You didn't put it in the form of a question.
What is A?
And this movie, I think, as you know, and most of my animation Disney friends know, this is my least favorite in the canon. I respect it for what it is. I understand how important and artful it is, but gosh, it bores me. I can't watch this movie except on fast forward.
Hot take.
But I like Fantasia 2000. I can watch that more than this one.
Hot take. No, I'm kidding. I'm not judging you for that. Fantasia, this is one a lot of animation folks put them as like their favorite, and I get it. Like, it's not my personal favorite, but I get it. Like, that first one, it's like I said, I'm more of like the traditional. I guess you could say I am more of the traditional narrative, so I'm not focusing on like just regular like animated segments at the music. But Fantasia, I can see why it's a classic. It has a lot of great segments, all that stuff. Sorcerer's Apprentice and Night of Bald Mountain and whatnot. And then when we got Fantasia 2000 that came came out. I still kind of remember the buzz for all that. I never got the chance to see it in IMAX when it came out, but that one has its segments too. Even if I know a lot of people aren't too big on like all the cameos or some of the segments not being like Fantasia level style segments and whatnot. So like I said, Fantasia, very much a staple of Disney history. Even if it's not my personal favorite, I get it.
Yeah, as long as we all respect it, so we're good. Sean, 4 away from the million. You have all 4 lifelines. You can use 1 for every one if you want. So let's keep going.
Again, I'm waiting for that one.
Based on the graphic novel of the same name, the animated 1986 British film When the Wind Blows tells the story of a couple dealing with the aftermath of which of the following disasters? It is an earthquake, a nuclear attack, excuse me, a volcanic eruption, or a hurricane.
Yeah, boy. Here we go.
Here we go. All right, take your time. You have lifelines. Have you seen this movie or heard of it?
I don't think I've even heard of it.
All right.
So I'm going to get the ball rolling and start with a 50-50.
Okay, we'll get rid of 2 wrong answers, but just for fun, what are you leaning towards?
I guess for now, the 2 ones that I'm looking at are hurricanes, mostly just because of the title, When the Wind Blows. That would make sense for, like for the natural disaster and whatnot. So yeah, hurricane and I don't know, maybe earthquake, maybe. I don't know.
Okay, and I apologize to all you viewers that my cough. I have had a bad cough for the past week. We're not doing a millionaire scam like the other guy in the Millionaire Show. This is just my cough I have going on.
Is it a nuclear attack? No.
50-50.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
So let's get rid of 2 wrong answers: nuclear attack or hurricane. So again, you could take a guess. If you get it right, you keep going. You get it wrong, you go down to 32,000. Oh, you have other lifelines if you want to use them.
Either this is going to be totally obvious or a trick question, but I will go to my gut and say D, hurricane. Final answer.
All right. You weren't sure about this one. You had all 4 lifelines. You took a 50-50, went with hurricane. Final answer. You get it right, you keep going. You get it wrong, it was nice having you. You go down to 32,000. Sean, your answer is wrong.
Yep, I figured it was the obvious answer.
I'm so sorry. You leave at 32,000. Yeah, it was a nuclear attack. This is I like this movie a lot, but it's a very sad movie. It's basically these 2 characters. They're the only characters in the entire movie, but like England's been hit by a nuclear attack and they're trying to survive in the countryside, and little by little it just gets worse and worse. But anyway, if you have time, check it out. Oh, Sean, I was hoping you'd get to the million, but
I called it. That was the answer that tripped me up.
It wasn't Stewart this time. At least that's a good thing.
I'd say maybe I should have used my double dip. Does double dip work even after the 50-50?
Yeah, I would allow it. Yeah.
Good to know. Good to know.
Next time, so yeah, you leave with 32,000, and like I said, if no one gets to the million, the top 5 will come back for round 2, and I'll let you know if you make it. But it's always a pleasure having you on. I always enjoy talking with you about animation and Disney and everything in that ball game. I love having you as a contestant. Is there anything else you want to say, or how can people find you?
Okay. No, that's we got the point across. So like I said, always glad to be here. I was happy to it's all about the fun,
It's all about the fun, and I always hope my contestants have fun, because I have fun making them, and I hope you have fun playing it, and I hope you guys have fun watching it. So
so no one pulls a me and tries to answer something right away. It's like, I got it. Oh crap, that's it.
And for everyone else watching, we've had 3 contestants. No one's made it to the million, but we still have 7 more to go. Will one of them make it to the million? Stay tuned to find out. Until then, take care. Bye.
All righty.